Imagine a world where books are rare and precious. A world where each book is a treasure, painstakingly copied by hand, taking months or even years to complete. Only the wealthy and powerful can afford them. These books are symbols of status and power, accessible only to those with the means to acquire them. Knowledge is tightly controlled by a select few. The gatekeepers of information hold immense power, shaping the thoughts and beliefs of society. This was the world before the printing press, a world where the flow of information was slow and limited and where the written word was a luxury. The invention of the printing press in the 15th century changed everything. Suddenly, the ability to produce books and documents was no longer confined to the elite. It was a revolution as profound as the invention of writing itself. The printing press transformed the way information was disseminated, making it possible to share ideas on an unprecedented scale. For the first time, information could be reproduced quickly and cheaply. Books became more accessible, and literacy rates began to rise as more people had the opportunity to learn to read. This breakthrough had a seismic impact on every aspect of human society. It changed the way people communicated, learned, and even thought about the world around them. The printing press democratized knowledge, fueled the Renaissance, and sparked the scientific revolution. It allowed for the rapid spread of new ideas and discoveries, accelerating the pace of innovation. It challenged the authority of the church and gave rise to new forms of political and social organization. The Reformation, for example, was made possible by the ability to print and distribute religious texts widely. The printing press didn't just change the world, it created the modern world we know today. It laid the foundation for the Enlightenment, the Industrial Revolution, and the Information Age. It is no exaggeration to say that the printing press is one of the most important inventions in human history. Its impact is still felt today, as we continue to rely on the printed word to share knowledge and ideas across the globe. Before the printing press, books were painstakingly copied by hand. This was a time when the written word was a precious commodity, and the act of creating a book was a labor of love and devotion. This was a slow and laborious process, often taking months or even years to complete a single volume. Scribes, often monks in monasteries, spent years copying texts, letter by letter. They worked in dimly lit scriptoriums, hunched over their desks, dedicating their lives to the preservation of knowledge. These handwritten manuscripts were works of art, adorned with intricate illustrations and gold leaf. Each page was a testament to the skill and patience of the scribe. However, they were also extremely rare and expensive. Only the very wealthy or powerful could afford to own even a small library. Owning a book was a status symbol, a sign of wealth and education. This scarcity of books meant that knowledge was tightly controlled. Libraries were few and far between, and access to them was restricted. The church, for example, held a virtual monopoly on learning. They controlled the production and distribution of books, ensuring that only approved texts were copied and read. Most people were illiterate and relied on the church for their understanding of the world. Without access to books, they had no way to learn or question the information they were given. The invention of the printing press would change all of that, opening up the world of knowledge to a far wider audience. Books could be produced quickly and cheaply, making them accessible to more people than ever before. This revolutionized the spread of information and ideas, paving the way for the modern world. The printing press, as we know it, was invented in the mid-15th century by Johannes Gutenberg, a German goldsmith. Gutenberg's invention was not just a single device, but a combination of several existing technologies, ingeniously brought together to revolutionize the way information was disseminated. Gutenberg's genius lay in combining existing technologies in a novel way. He took the concept of movable type, which had been used in East Asia, and adapted it for use with the Latin alphabet. He developed a system of movable type where each letter was cast on a separate piece of metal. This allowed for the letters to be reused, rearranged, and reset for different pages, making the process much more efficient. These individual letters could be arranged into words, lines, and pages. This modular approach meant that printers could quickly and easily compose new text without having to create new plates for each page. Once the page was set, it could be inked and pressed against paper, creating a printed page. This process was much faster than the laborious task of hand-copying manuscripts, which had been the standard method of book production for centuries. Gutenberg's press could produce hundreds of identical copies of a page in a single day. This was a monumental leap forward in terms of productivity and accessibility. This was a dramatic increase in speed and efficiency compared to hand copying. The ability to produce books quickly and in large quantities meant that knowledge could be spread more widely and more rapidly than ever before. Gutenberg's invention marked a turning point in history, ushering in the era of mass communication. It laid the foundation for the Renaissance, the Reformation, and the scientific revolution, as ideas could now be shared and debated on an unprecedented scale. Books and pamphlets spread across Europe, reaching a wider audience than ever before. This democratization of knowledge had profound effects on society, culture, and politics, shaping the modern world in ways that are still felt today. The printing press had a profound impact on the availability of knowledge. Books, once rare and expensive, became more affordable and accessible. As printing technology spread, so too did literacy rates. People from all walks of life could now read and learn for themselves. The printing press broke down the barriers that had long restricted access to knowledge. It empowered individuals, challenged traditional hierarchies, and fostered a spirit of intellectual curiosity. The democratization of information was a key factor in the social, cultural, and scientific revolutions that followed. A religious revolution. The printing press and the Reformation. The printing press played a pivotal role in the Protestant Reformation. Martin Luther's 95 Theses, which challenged the authority of the Catholic Church, were quickly printed and disseminated throughout Europe. Luther's ideas resonated with many, and the Reformation gained momentum. The printing press allowed reformers to spread their ideas widely and rapidly. It facilitated debate and discussion, undermining the Church's control over religious doctrine. The Reformation led to the rise of Protestantism and had a profound impact on the religious landscape of Europe. Likewise, the Quran is the holy book of Muslims, whose printing has led to its widespread dissemination along with its translations. Many Muslims consider it to contain miraculous verses such as the verse, "So do I swear by the positions of the stars, and indeed it is a great oath, if you knew." Science has proven that what we see in the sky are the positions of the stars, not the stars themselves. The stars may have moved from their place or exploded, but their light is still reaching us. For more information, see the video in the description box. This scientific information would not have spread across horizons and reached so many people had it not been for printing, which enabled millions to read. The scientific revolution spreading new discoveries. The printing press was also instrumental in the scientific revolution. Scientists could now share their findings with a wider audience. Books and journals disseminated new theories and discoveries, fostering collaboration and accelerating scientific progress. Nicholas Copernicus's revolutionary theory that the Earth revolves around the Sun, for example, was published in a book made possible by the printing press. This challenged the long-held belief in an Earth-centered universe. The printing press helped to create a more open and dynamic environment for scientific inquiry. A renaissance in literature and culture. The Renaissance, a period of great artistic and intellectual flourishing, was fueled by the printing press. The rediscovery of classical texts and the spread of new ideas led to a surge in creativity. Writers, artists, and thinkers drew inspiration from the past and embraced new possibilities. The printing press allowed for the mass production of books, making literature more widely available. This led to a surge in literacy and a more informed public. New literary genres emerged and writers experimented with different styles and forms. The printing press helped to usher in a golden age of literature and culture. The printing press and political change. The printing press had a profound impact on politics. It gave a voice to those who had long been silenced. Political pamphlets, broadsides, and newspapers spread information and challenged the authority of rulers. The printing press helped to fuel revolutions and social change. The American Revolution, for example, was fueled in part by the power of the printing press. Thomas Paine's pamphlet Common Sense, which argued for independence from Britain, was widely circulated and helped to galvanize public opinion. Economic impact, new jobs and industries. The printing press had a significant impact on the economy. It created new jobs and industries. Printing shops sprang up in cities across Europe. These shops employed typesetters, printers, bookbinders, and others. The printing press stimulated economic growth and innovation. The demand for paper increased, leading to the growth of the papermaking industry. The printing press also fueled the growth of literacy and education, which had further economic benefits. The printing press was a catalyst for economic and social progress. Education transformed from scribes to students. The printing press revolutionized education. Before the printing press, education was a privilege reserved for the elite. Books were scarce and expensive, and most people were illiterate. The printing press made it possible to produce books on a mass scale, making them more affordable and accessible. This led to a dramatic increase in literacy rates and a more educated populace. Universities flourished, and new schools were established. The printing press transformed education from a privilege into a right, laying the foundation for modern systems of education. The legacy of the printing press in the digital age. The printing press may seem like a relic of the past in our digital age. However, its legacy is all around us. The printing press paved the way for the mass media, the internet, and the free flow of information that we take for granted today. The principles of mass production and the dissemination of information that Gutenberg pioneered are still relevant today. The printing press may have evolved, but its fundamental impact on knowledge, communication, and society remains as profound as ever.